So one of the things that are notoriously fun about the M.A.D.1 is just to flick it around and watch the rotor spin.
Yeah.
So why don't we have a little competition to see whose spin can last the longest? Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What You're Wearing. Today we're going to have a little retrospective on the M.A.D.1 series. So Jonathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about the M.A.D.1?
So the M.A.D.1 is actually the product of a sister brand of M.B.F. So from the M.A.D. Gallery, which is the artistics and the crafts for M.B.F. And Max actually wanted to release a watch. As he's said many times, he wanted to produce a watch that was accessible to his friends.
Like M.B.F. watches, they start from an average of like 100,000 US dollars up, right? So the M.A.D.1 are relatively affordable. I think they start at around 2,000 to 3,000 francs. So
Yes.
compared to M.B.F., that's like
A lot more accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
And the watch is actually very reminiscent of the M.B.F. design language. It still has that crazy look. They've kept the price low by taking a Miyota movement and inverting it to have the rotor on the top.
And then also they have the time-telling display at the side of the case, right? So you actually read the time between the lugs at 6 o'clock. So it's kind of like a driver's watch.
So they did that by replacing the hour and the minute hands with aluminum discs on the side, so you can actually tell time a little bit more discreetly.
I remember when I first found out about the M.A.D.1, it was from an email from M.B.F. And at the time, I was like, what the hell is this? I think that was like a little video teaser of like a little silhouette of the rotor spinning. And I couldn't find any information on the internet. I tried Googling it, I tried asking other people, no one's heard of it. But after a few hours when I found out a little bit more about it, and I was like, okay, I just have to have this watch.
Yeah, it's like being able to buy an M.B.F. at such a fraction of the price.
Yeah, exactly. So the watch itself is 42 millimeters case diameter and 18 millimeters thick. So I think just judging from the dimensions, people might think, oh, it's really chunky, it's really heavy, but actually the watch is surprisingly light and easy to wear.
They've achieved that by actually using mineral crystal and steel. The rotor is made of titanium and tungsten, and the rings are actually made of aluminum. So this version is the blue version, the very first version. They actually only made this available to tribe members. As for those of you who don't know what the tribe is, it's actually a community of his friends, suppliers, as well as his consumers from the very beginning supporting M.B.F.
The blue version is a little bit different from the other versions in the sense that it has a little flappy crown.
Almost like a pocket watch.
Yeah, which makes it a bit easier to wind actually,
Yeah.
even though aesthetically I prefer the crowns of the subsequent versions.
Yeah.
And also I think the bezel is a little bit thicker on the blue version, which makes it look a little bit chunkier compared to the subsequent ones.
I think there's a certain charm to the original version. I think blue is just a bit more versatile color. So I personally really like the blue, but I know a lot of people who prefer actually the subsequent versions in both red and green.
So this is your blue version.
Yep.
I've made mine into a clock.
Yeah. Put it on the rope.
Combining it a Robo Dog.
Robo Dog.
Yeah, this is my little poor man's M.B.F. clock because I can't yet afford the real ones.
Yeah.
But you know, I put this on my desk and I look at it every day and it brings me immense joy when I'm working.
So after releasing the blue version, they actually decided to release versions that were available to the public by means of lottery. And the very first configuration came in the form of red.
The red one was the first one they announced for lottery, and I think the response that they got from that was immense. And I think they made 2 runs of the M.A.D.1 red. I think each one might be around 500 pieces. I'm not sure about the precise figures.
And after that, they stopped the red and did the version in green, also doing it by lottery. After 3 tries, if after 3 tries you still didn't get it, they actually released a special green version called the Lucky Clover, in the case for people who were unlucky, so unlucky that they couldn't win the lottery 3 times in a row. So the only difference between the Lucky Clover and the green one is actually that on the crown there is a 4-leaf clover denoting how unlucky or lucky you are.
One thing that I actually quite like about the green and the red version is the strap. Like this strap is sort of like a nylon texture but it has a leather lining on the back, but it feels a bit like a rubber strap.
Yeah.
I actually like this one a lot more than the original strap that came on the blue version.
I've actually been looking for a rubber strap for the M.A.D. one for the longest time, and very happy to know that recently the Deluxe also released these curved 24mm rubber straps for the M.A.D. one.
Yeah, I see you put the white color on your M.A.D.1 blue.
It's the summertime, so
Yeah.
we gotta put it in white.
Pretty good combo.
Thank you.
So speaking of rubber strap, I also have the rubber strap,
Yep.
the Deluxe one, on my Time to Love, which is the most recent version of the M.A.D.1. I gotta be honest, I don't really know too much about the artist, but I think his name is Jean-Jacques de Castelbajac. Forgive me for butchering the pronunciation, but I think he's quite famous in terms of the French-speaking world. He has been a director for some fashion companies, including United Colors of Benetton.
Which explains
Which explains the color scheme
Yes.
on this watch.
So in this version, they actually adapted the rotor to slightly change not only the shape, but also the colors of the rotor, as well as the font and the hour rings.
Yeah, and I think this makes the watch a lot more fun,
Playful.
in my view. Yeah, you know, you have the blue, red, and yellow on the rotor. So even though it's foregone the lume rotor, it makes it a bit more fun to wear. You know, you can see that those three colors spinning around on your wrist, and you have the green on the hour ring on the side. Really nice and playful weekend watch to wear.
Yeah. There's actually two other versions that not that many people know about. There's actually also a pink unique piece that they made for charity, and that actually went up to 200,000, I think.
Wow.
Yes. The second version is one collaboration with GMT Italy, with Jacopo. They made a 30-piece limited edition in this pale yellow salmonish color, and that's quite cool as well.
Yeah, I have yet to see that one in real life, and I look forward to checking it out.
So what do you think is next for the M.A.D. brand? And is it going to be a M.A.D. 2? Are they going to play with more colors? What's next?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've seen a lot of colors already with the M.A.D.1 series, so maybe it's time to move on to another model. But yeah, let's see what the brand brings out next year. So one of the things that are notoriously fun about the M.A.D.1 is just to flick it around and watch the rotor spin.
Yeah.
So why don't we have a little competition to see whose spin can last the longest?
All right.
So we just do a few flicks and keep it horizontal.
Okay.
Okay? All right, let's go.
2, 3. Ah, shit.
See, there's a technique to it.
I keep flipping it reverse.
There's a technique to it.
God, I need to practice my wrist flicking skills.